Imagine the scene in the very heart of the Holy Land. The walls of Bethlehem tremble before the approach of the Muslim army. It is the year 1182. The hopes of an entire generation of Christians rest upon a young king, weakened by leprosy, yet unbreakable in spirit. Today, we will learn the incredible story of the Battle of Bethlehem, one of the most impressive moments of the reign of Baldwin IV of Jerusalem, the Leper King. In this video, you will discover how Baldwin, even with his failing health, bravely led his troops to defend not only the city of Bethlehem. What seemed like an inevitable defeat turned into a surprising victory, thanks to the cunning, faith, and determination of this young sovereign. Prepare to dive into an epic episode that still resonates to this day. In the 12th century, the Latin kingdom of Jerusalem was a fragile bastion of Christendom amidst hostile Muslim territories. Founded after the First Crusade, the kingdom relied on an intricate network of fortresses, alliances, and individual heroism to survive. Ruled by Baldwin, a young king afflicted with leprosy, Jerusalem faced the constant threat represented by Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt and Syria, who had sworn to reconquer the holy cities for Islam. It was a time of continuous tension, where each victory or defeat could change the fate of the entire East. At the beginning of 1182, Saladin intensified his raids against the Latin kingdom of Jerusalem. Determined to weaken the Christian position, he launched a series of swift and destructive attacks across the border. In November, it became known that a Muslim force was heading toward Bethlehem, a city of enormous spiritual importance to Christians, being the traditional birthplace of Christ. Baldwin, aware of the threat, reacted with surprising speed, even weakened by the progression of leprosy, which left him with limited movement and dependent on assistance. The young king refused to passively watch the possible fall of Bethlehem. He organized a detachment composed mainly of Templar knights, Hospitallers, and local noble contingents. His firm leadership was one of the decisive factors in rallying scattered forces and boosting the morale of a population worn out by constant wars. The Christian army set out toward Bethlehem, knowing they would face numerically superior forces. Baldwin knew that a traditional defense would not be enough. Bold action was required. He then chose an aggressive tactic: attack before the Muslims could organize and lay siege to the city. The Christian assault was swift and brutal. Baldwin personally commanded his men, even though, according to reports, he had to be tied to his horse to remain mounted. This heroic gesture ignited the spirits of his knights, who fought with redoubled ferocity. Saladin's force, likely expecting resistance only within the walls, was caught off guard by the immediate and vigorous action of the Christians. For hours, the battle spread across the fields surrounding Bethlehem. Latin knights, though fewer in number, used the advantage of terrain and speed to fragment the Muslim army. Each cavalry charge was led with determination, turning the battlefield into a series of small skirmishes in which the Crusaders' experience prevailed. Later accounts indicate that Baldwin, despite the excruciating pain his condition imposed, refused to abandon the front line. The mere sight of the young king, clad in armor and facing danger personally, inspired his soldiers to hold on even when all seemed lost. The discipline of the Templar and Hospitaller military orders ensured the cohesion needed to repel the enemy assaults. By the end of the day, the Muslims began to retreat. Many chroniclers regarded the victory as a true miracle, the result of Baldwin's faith and indomitable determination. The city of Bethlehem was saved, and with it, the morale of the Latin kingdom of Jerusalem was restored, at least temporarily. He not only saved a city, he also saved the hope of an entire people, reaffirming his position as one of the most remarkable kings in the history of the Crusades. News of Baldwin's bravery and the preservation of the holy city spread quickly, strengthening the morale of the Crusaders and the local inhabitants. Many saw in this triumph a divine sign, a response to prayers and the unwavering faith that sustained the small kingdom amid a sea of enemies. Politically, The battle further elevated Baldwin's prestige. Even his critics, who had previously doubted his ability to rule due to his illness, were forced to acknowledge his talent as a military leader and his almost superhuman courage. The image of the Leper King, who fought with more vigor than many healthy men, became a symbol of resistance and selflessness, captivating both his internal allies and the European lords, who occasionally sent reinforcements to the east. On the Muslim side, Saladin did not underestimate the importance of the setback. Although his army was not destroyed, the defeat at Bethlehem showed that Jerusalem could still respond effectively. Saladin realized that defeating the Latin kingdom would require more careful and prolonged campaigns, and that as long as Baldwin was alive, any attempt at conquest would be arduous and bloody. However, Baldwin's health continued to deteriorate alarmingly. Though he had emerged victorious, the king knew his time was limited. Leprosy, inexorable, advanced, affecting his mobility and physical capabilities. Even so, he persisted in governing personally, trying to ensure the kingdom's stability and prepare the succession to protect Jerusalem after his inevitable death. Internally, the victory in Bethlehem also brought challenges. Many nobles, encouraged by the apparent momentary security, began to vie for influence and plan alliances for the uncertain future without Baldwin. Court politics grew increasingly complex, and the king, despite his illness, had to use all his sagacity to maintain cohesion among the various factions. Moreover, the continued protection of the holy cities required more than occasional bravery. It demanded resources, soldiers, and above all, political stability. Baldwin understood that Bethlehem had been saved that day, but that the long-term survival of the kingdom depended on difficult decisions and even greater sacrifices. Even so, at the end of 1182, Jerusalem celebrated. Thanksgiving masses were held, and the name of Baldwin IV was praised aloud in pulpits and public squares. For his demonstrated courage and unbreakable faith, the Leper King solidified his position as a true paladin of Christendom, whose memory, even today, continues to inspire all those who know his story. His heroic figure, mounted on the battlefield, remains one of the most powerful icons of the Crusades and of Christian medieval history. If you were moved by this epic journey, don't forget to leave your comment below about what you'd like to see next, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any episode of the extraordinary saga of Baldwin of Jerusalem. See you next time.